Hi, Tracy here with BibleJournalingMinistries.com, and I am always out on the lookout for inexpensive Bible journaling supplies, and I may have found one, and that's what we're going to find out today in this video. I have here the multimedia art set it's actually by artist Loft, and you can find this at Michael's. It's $5 and it includes pastels, it includes watercolors, acrylics, and then pencil, and also the paintbrushes. And what's great about this kit is it has like different mediums that you can try out and decide if you like them. So let's go ahead and get started. I think it's great because, you know, if you decide that you pick up this kit and it's $5 and you don't like acrylics, then don't invest in acrylics. If you like watercolors, then invest more in watercolors. At least this gives you an idea as to what medium you might like. So let's go ahead and open it and give it a shot and see what we think. Hopefully it's a great deal and I can recommend it. If not, it'll go on the list of items not recommended. And when I work with these, I'm not going to use any gesso because I want to see if it actually bleeds through, and I would rather it bleed through in my Bible than yours. So the first thing we're going to start with we'll start with the watercolors. So in this set you get a blue, you get lamp black, cobalt blue, crimson red, and lemon yellow, and they come in these little tubes. You also get some brushes, different brushes, and a pencil. So let's just not use that part. Let's go ahead and get our Bibles. First we're going to protect our surface, so I'm going to use the Ranger Craft mat like I always use. And I am going to protect the inside of my Bible with a little piece of Ranger Craft mat. Alright, and let's go ahead and get started. We're in Acts chapter 27. This is when Paul sails for Rome, and they get stopped at, I think it was called Fair Harbor. I'm not really sure. Fair Havens, and Paul's like, hey, I don't think we should go forward, and the guy who's in charge of the ship was like, well, we're just going to do what the captain says, we're going to move on, and then they get shipwrecked. So that's what happens when you don't listen to Paul. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So I have this little palette, and it comes, these little paint tray things, and it comes in like a pack of 5 or 6 at the dollar store, and these are great because you can use them, and you can use a lot of them, and then you don't have to wash them right away if you don't want to, but you can. And I just use a lot. You can just use them. And so all I'm going to do is open these up. They're sealed, so you just take the little nubby that's in the cap and you just poke it in there, and then it starts to come out. And you don't need a lot, but if we find we need more, we'll add more. That's the good thing about Bible journaling, is you actually don't need a lot of paint. So these little sets are cute. Like, they're super cute, and you can take them with wherever you go. And the good thing is with the watercolor set, you get all of the basic primary colors. So that means you can make other colors. Okay. Oh, wow. Be careful. That one was under pressure apparently, and it went everywhere. Not on my Bible though. Yay! Okay, so bad news number 1, make sure it's not under pressure when you open it and it gets everywhere. Make sure your Bible's protected. So to go ahead and get started, I'm just have some water here, and I'm going to go ahead and load up my brush with some water, and I am going to start with the yellow. And you can add water, like you could bring this yellow down and add water and make it really lighter and translucent if you want to. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. All I'm going to do is just color in some of these flowers. Cool. And let that dry for a little bit. So far so good. We're going to wait until these dry before we make our final, whether or not we think this is a good set or not, because, at least for $5. Because the last time I got really excited about a set from Michaels, it turned out to be not a good set, and then I wasn't happy. So all I'm doing is just applying the watercolor. This red one is kind of almost directly out of the tube, so you definitely would want to add some water to this, but I just want to see what it looks like coming out of the tube. Okay. I can tell you right now that the paintbrush that I'm using feels a little loose at the top. So this little crimp here feels like it's a little bit loose and shaky. It's not gonna fall off, but it just feels a little like it's rocking. So let's add some blue. Again, I'm just going directly into the color itself, just to see if I like it. Alright, let's see if it picks up well. That B looks really smudged. So I'm just taking my brush and just pulling it up by swiping it. So far so good. So if you're not happy, you can always just pull it up with a little more water. Okay. So this brush obviously isn't for lettering. That's okay. Now let's blend some colors together. Let's do some yellow and blue, just a little bit, and let's mix them together. It's a little bit too blue, too bluish green, so let me pick up some more yellow. Good, happy with that color. I'm going to come in and start to do some leaves. The fun thing about watercolor is you never know what to expect because it's so fluid. It's not easy to control at all. But that's one of the things that artists and even myself, that's what I love about it. It allows me to be free and flowing, and I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about mistakes or anything because there are no mistakes. The watercolor does what it wants to do, and I'm fine with it. Are you? Are you fine with it? All right. So this is working nicely so far. Let's go ahead and mix some colors together and make a little bit of orange. I'm going to pick up some more yellow, pick up a little red, add a little water. That's kind of a brown orange. That's not going to work. Let me pick up some more yellow. I think my paintbrush must be dirty. Let's do this way. By the way, don't put your palette on your Bible like I'm doing. Don't do as I do, because if you were to tip this over and it got on your Bible, you might not be happy. So don't do as I do. Okay, that's cool orange. So all I'm going to do is just dot a little bit for the center of the flowers. And again, that's what's really awesome about this set, because it comes with all the primary colors, so you can mix and make the colors you don't have. So you don't need the whole set. You don't need to have your own orange. Just put yellow and red together and make orange. It's cool. You don't have to, you know, especially if you're on a tight budget, just work with what you have. It's okay. Just because other people have it doesn't mean you need it. You need to get what you like and what you can afford, and you know, be happy with what you have. It's what God gave you. Always be happy with what God has provided for you. He is a very generous God. Okay, so there's that. And let's say I'm going to come in with some black. I want to add some water to this black because I don't want it to be totally dark. Oh, there's a lot on that paintbrush. And I'm just going to paint. This is really not translucent. I should add more water. It's kind of, honestly, I didn't expect this set to be really as thick in terms of the pigment. I was just thinking it was going to be a cheap watercolor set and not worth it, but I don't know. I like it so far. We'll see how it dries. Hopefully it doesn't dry like a chalk like the last set we tried. I'm pretty sure most people would have gave up and got a better brush, but I really want to use the brush that I came with, because I feel like, since we're talking about it being a budget selection, I want to be able to paint with just the supplies that it came with. So to get a thin line, I have to put the paintbrush on its side. Okay, I'm going to continue painting, so I'm going to go ahead and forward this video, and you don't have to watch me do all this painting. Okay, so far so good. I added a lot more water to these colors than I did to this section, because I wanted to see if I could get really nicer watercolory looks, which is that. So what you're supposed to do is add water to them. First I just wanted to try them straight up, and then so I added some additional water, and they look great. So it's a great set. I mean, so far so good with the watercolor. I'm going to add a couple of dots here for some interest. And then maybe we'll just kind of splash watercolor around the page just to kind of give it a different look. So let's do that. I'm going to use the same paintbrush. Maybe use some cleaner water since I am using yellow. Just going to add a lot of water to this brush and just start spreading it across the page. And then I'm going to pull up some purple, and I'm going to add the purple. Not worried about if I'm going to make any mud, don't really care. I'm just playing with paint right now. I just want to use up some of the paint I have in this palette. One of the things I love about watercolor is when it reacts with the other colors around it. So as long as you're using colors that are in the same color family, or that blend well together, you get really pretty effects. Now this page is really wet. Normally, if I was going to get a page this wet, I would be using gesso to protect the page, and so it wouldn't soak up all of this water. But I didn't do that today because I wanted to see what would happen if I did. soak up the page. So this is a test, but normally I would add more. I would add the gesso. I normally don't blot either, but I don't like how this is looking right now, so I just added water and I'm blotting it away. Okay, let's go ahead and let this dry, and let's go ahead and look at the acrylic. So for the acrylic, you get 3 to 4 different colors. You're going to get a purple. This is a purple violet. You're getting a silver, a gold, and a white. Titanium white. So let's go ahead and open these up. And all I'm going to do is use them to scrape paint on the side of the Bible. So I actually don't even need, ugh, be careful. Some of these are looks like under pressure, or somebody squeezed them before they put them in the package. There we go. Okay. To do the scraping, I use a gift card that's either used up or that is something from like the kids, or something that's from the kids events, like this is from the main event. So all I'm going to do right now is start off with the silver. I'm going to run just a very thin layer of acrylic paint on it, and I'm just going to swipe it across my page. You can also put the paint somewhere else, like on a palette if you wanted to. I'm just not going to do that. And let's go ahead and add a little gold. A lot of people don't like student grade paints, but when it comes to your Bible, I think they're fine, because they're most of the time they're just really translucent, and they're translucent because there isn't as much pigment in them. And for your Bible, that's fine. I think it's fine, because then you can see the words. But if you really are concerned and you want something with a rich pigment, then I would go with a heavy body, and that would be probably a golden brand. Otherwise, the student grade is fine. Let's add some purple. Whoa. Didn't really mix well. There's a little bit of oil coming out of this one, or whatever they're using as a filler. Okay, so that came out, but I swirled it around, so it should be fine. This is just called paint scraping. Yeah, this one, there's too much of that stuff coming out. It's not really mixed well together. So this is the case where I would put it into a paint palette. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a lot of the clear fluid there. It's just not mixed well. So off it goes into the paint palette, because I don't want that on my Bible. And then I'm just going to mix it with my paintbrush. And that's the paintbrush that it came with. And then I could take this and put it on my card if I want to, just paint it on a card. Or you can use your paintbrush. Now this white is very translucent, which is fine, but for me, I like a heavy body white. I like to really see it. So I would probably be happier with my golden heavy body white, which I have. But, you know, for starters, you can see if you like acrylic paint just by playing with it. So far so good. I mean, this is a great set. I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. I'd be happy with it if I got it for Christmas or for my birthday or as a gift. If somebody gave it to me, I would be happy with it. Of course, I'm pretty much happy with everything. It has to be really bad for me not to be happy. Okay. So there's that. And let's go ahead and let it dry. Okay, I just wanted to show you the difference between the two pages so far. I don't know if you can see this very clearly, but this is the one that has watercolor on it. This is the one that has acrylic on it. So the watercolor is, because I did use gesso and there was a lot of water, the page really soaked it up. So it's really wrinkly, but it will flatten out over time. I could literally put this underneath, literally close my book and put something heavy on it, and eventually it'll fold out just fine. This is the acrylic, and because I wasn't using any water but I only used what was included in the acrylic, there's no wrinkling at all. So that might help you decide whether or not you like watercolor or if you like acrylic. If you like watercolor, I would suggest using the gesso, like I said before, if you're adding a lot of water. But I purposely didn't use the gesso because I wanted to see if it was bleeding through at all, and it didn't bleed through, so that's nice. And I got no bleed through on the acrylic. So the next thing we're going to do is use the pastels. And I'm just going to come over here, and some of you might be wondering, like, what am I going to do with these pages? I'm going to finish them up. So I will add some stickers and pretty them up a bit. This one needs a little more work. And I will fast forward the video so you don't have to watch me do that, but that's what I'm going to do next. But for the purpose of this demonstration, I want to make sure that you see all the different kinds that are in this kit. So let's get out the pastels and start playing with those. Oh, real quickly, this is not chalky at all. So the last set that I reviewed from the Artist Loft brand was flaking off and it was chalky, but this is not, so that's nice. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we just finished up all 3 pages. Now, this one I'm not really a fan of, I'll be honest with you. I love that the watercolors are great, but the art itself is not my favorite. And I just wanted to call your attention to this section here. This is the section that I wasn't happy with. And here's the thing. Anytime I'm working in watercolor and I'm not happy with a section and I go and I work on it, most of the time it doesn't really work out. So I tried to add some stickles to it and then I didn't like it, so I scraped it off. Then I added some stickles around it and then I kind of smudged them and moved them around, and you know what I'll probably end up doing is just leaving it and being okay with imperfection and not being, you know, picky about it. But here's the thing. The lesson is, anytime you, at least what I have found is, when I found something I don't like and I try to monkey around with it, I mean, I'm drawing your eye here. So instead of just leaving it be and being happy with how it comes out, now you're definitely going to be seeing this kind of hot mess over here. And that's okay. I mean, it's fine. And this is my Bible, and so it doesn't really matter. As long as I can understand what was happening in Acts as I was reading about Paul and his journey, then that's the point of it. And it's definitely a fun experience, and I'm glad that I was able to share with you these watercolors, because I think, you know, for $5 it's a really great deal. So here is the other pages that I did with the acrylics. All I did was add some letters that say trouble, because this is what Paul's saying to the person he's talking to. The sea officer or ship officer is the one he's talking to, and he's like, look, we're gonna have trouble if we go on. And the guy's like, nah, I'm just not gonna listen to you. And the next one that we did, which is my favorite, is the pastels. So with the pastels, all I did was I added stickers that said speak in your defense, which is what Agrippa is saying to Paul. I might be saying his name wrong. I'm never good at these names. And yeah, the pastels are sticking on. They look really good, and I'm excited to say that for $5 this is a great kit that will help you decide if you like pastels, watercolor, or acrylics. Alright, I hope this video was helpful to you. If it was, give us a thumbs up, and if you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks so much. You have a great day. Bye!